So Sherry's a retired psychotherapist, and she would tell me things she'd learned at conventions. One presenter was talking about communication through in marriages, and she talked about working with a couple. She said to the wife, for example, let me ask you, how do you express when you want to make love? The woman said, well, I say, sweetheart, I'm going upstairs now. I'm going to take a long, hot shower. Her husband said, that's what you've been telling me? All these years, I thought you meant I shouldn't run the dishwasher. Sherry had a colonoscopy. It's a routine thing. I hope you're all doing it of a certain age. And we were at the hospital in Bennington, and it was late afternoon. I was in the waiting room. There was one other man there who was watching television that was blaring, and I was off to the side trying to read. A nurse walked in. She said, Mr. Albert, as well as it's Alper. She said, well, your wife is all set. Let me take you to her room. We got up there. She said, do you want me to see if she's ready? I said, no, thank you. We've been married for 55 years. And so I walked into the room, and there was Mrs. Albert. She was not ready. She's not happy either. So I had some medical stuff. I had to have a cystoscopy. Now, that's where they want to look at your bladder, and what they found was lovely. I mean, doctor loved it. It was beautiful. I'm going to use words, cystoscopy, and the other word, urethra, that no other comedian ever uses in their act. The way they examine the bladder is they take a tube, and they put it in your urethra, and at the end of the tube, there's a light and a camera on a little tiny iPhone 12. So I'm waiting in the OR, and the anesthesiologist walked in with a very attractive young woman. He says, this is Dr. Richmond. She's a resident, and she'd like to observe the procedure. I thought, well, great, it's not going to be humiliating enough. But I thought, I'm going to be asleep. I said, all right, fine, you know. So I looked and I said, so what's your specialty? She said, podiatry. The thing is, when I woke up, all of my toenails had been trimmed. We have little kids in our family. My nephew has a pair of 11-year-old twins. He's always saying to them, remember, one of you was unplanned. My niece has a 4-year-old grandson, and we were at a restaurant. He had to go to the bathroom, so I took him. He went into the stall. I was out there by the sink waiting. And apparently they had one of these electric toilets with the blinking red light, because at a certain point I heard him say, you know, Uncle Bob, these things take your picture. And I called my neighbor, his 4-year-old picked up. She said, my daddy took me to the animal zoo. My daddy's the best daddy in the world. I love my daddy. He got on the phone and said, Carl, enjoy her while she's stupid. And our family is rounded up. We have a dog and a couple of cats. The dog is a recent acquisition because our old dog died. And those of you who've lost pets, you know, it's not an easy thing. It's very heartbreaking. In fact, there was a show called Kids Say the Darndest Things with Art Linkletter years ago. Remember that? A little boy had a sad expression. Linkletter said, what's the matter? He said, well, my dog died. Linkletter said, well, now your dog's in heaven. And the kid says, what does God want with a dead dog?